If drawing feels overwhelming, you're not alone. What if I told you the secret to better drawing is hiding in the shapes that you already know? Circles, squares, triangles can turn any complex image into something simple and doable. Stick with me, and I'll show you how to break down anything into basic shapes. Even if you think you can't draw, let's make drawing easier together. Our video objectives, we're going to find basic shapes to help draw more complex objects. We're going to blend those basic shapes together and add more detail to make drawing complex objects easier. And make sure that you download the practice activity. It can be found in the description. That way you can follow along with what I'm doing on screen. Now that you know the plan, let's break it down step by step. First, I'll show you how to spot the basic shapes inside more complex objects. Then we'll blend those shapes together and add simple details to bring your drawings to life. And make things even easier, I've created a free downloadable practice activity so you can follow along with me. Before we jump in, let me know in the comments what's one thing you've always wanted to draw but thought was too hard. I'd love to help you break it down in a future video. Why do we need to break things down to basic shapes? So basic shapes are a whole lot easier to draw than like maybe a dinosaur or a shoe or a car. Basic shapes help us build objects, and we're going to see that in the demonstration. And it helps us understand how to draw different things. We're going to be able to start seeing those the more we practice this activity. Before we start, you're going to need a pencil or a thin marker, but a colored pencil works best. It makes the lines much easier to see. You'll also need a sheet of paper. You can pause the video and download the free PDF in the description to follow along. Let's get started. Okay, so we are going to look for basic shapes in our images to try to make our drawings a whole lot easier. Your basic shapes might look different than mine, and that's totally okay. We might see things a little differently. So if when you're going through these exercises, you're like, ooh, I didn't see that shape, that's okay. As long as you're finding basic shapes in your images, then that's totally cool. If you want more practice with this, you're welcome to take pictures around your house. I just use my phone to take pictures, printing them off so that I can trace them. But you can also do this right on your phone or tablet or computer if you want additional practice. So for this one, I'm going to start with a bunch of triangles. I'm going to kind of break this down. And again, if you see the triangles differently, that's totally cool. We don't have to see them the same. I'm not worried about details right now. I'm just worried about some basic shapes that are easier to draw. So I've got a whole bunch of triangles. I've got a little football shape for the eye here. I have kind of a rectangle here, but I do know that there are a bunch of little shapes like this on the edge of, sorry, not a dinosaur. Person, I don't know what the edge of this is called, but I've got a lot of these little bump shapes. If I draw this entire oval instead of just where it lines up here, it's a lot easier to draw. So it's okay to draw through shapes right now, just to make our shapes easier to draw. I like to use ovals for limbs. You can use ovals, you can use rectangles. You can draw over it more than once if you need to figure out where that shape is at. We are just mapping out where these shapes are going to go, how big or small they are compared to each other, and kind of where they line up with each other. So if I was going to draw this dinosaur, these are the shapes that I would use, just because that's how my brain sees all of this. So if I go to redraw this now, let me scoot this over a little bit. If I go to redraw this now, I'm going to try to draw those same shapes, and I'm going to try to line up where they are next to each other, the same sizes, the best that I can to draw this dinosaur. So I'm going to start over here, and I like that line. And you don't have to erase things right away either. If you don't like something, erase it later. Our brains like to try to trace things, so there's a good chance that if you try to erase something, you're going to end up tracing right over it. So wait till the end to erase anything you don't like. Okay, I'm just trying to get the directions in for everything, figure out where everything is at, how big or small it is compared to the other shapes around it. Now, the little bumps they start on top of this rectangle, and they kind of go around it. And then they kind of go inside the rectangle a little bit, just like I did right here. And those little details are going to help me make sure that I draw this like the original image that I took. Okay, getting that oval in. Is it perfect? Nope, but it's a guide. I can go over some of these lines. If I want to make it a little smaller, I made it a little too big here, so I went back and made it a little smaller. Then that's good. Okay, I'm taking my time. I'm trying to draw the same shapes that I saw here. Okay. Drawing my ovals for the back leg. Again, if I don't like the shape that I'm drawing, I'm going to redraw it a few times till I get a shape that I do like. Okay, this tail kind of comes out here, kind of goes up just a little bit. Okay, good. So I've got my basic shapes down. The next thing I want to do is kind of connect shapes together to kind of make them look a little bit more realistic. Ooh, I forgot this one right here. This kind of leans back. Okay, so I know that these curve a little bit, so I'm going to get that in there. I'm going to work on connecting shapes together. I'm drawing a little bit darker now. And I'm kind of going in and smoothing some of this out. If I want to, I can go in with an eraser and erase some stuff. I'm going to connect these together, and I'm going to get rid of the lines on the inside. Now I have a dinosaur head that looks a lot closer to the little toy that I took a picture of, and I used basic shapes to build it to make the drawing process easier, because I can draw rectangles and triangles and football shapes. But if I were to try to just draw that dinosaur head, that'd be really difficult to do. I built it using basic shapes. So I can do the same thing here. Trying to figure out where everything connects. Maybe there's a little line up here to show the muscle. And I'm sure there's little toes in here. Again, I can go in and erase these extra lines. Ooh, and it's starting to look more like a dinosaur. So this is a little flatter than the rounded oval that I drew. So I can go ahead and flatten that out a little bit. Maybe I want to add some lines where it's like connecting into the body. Maybe the foot overlaps a little bit here. I don't know how many toes it has. My image is a little small, so I'm just going in, making some guesses on that. Okay, maybe I want to leave a little line up here just to show the muscles in those joints. And again, I'm drawing a toy, not a real dinosaur, so it's okay that I don't have all of the little details in there, but we just used basic shapes to create a dinosaur. So don't forget, you can download this PDF so you can follow along. I'm going to do another one for you. If this is starting to make drawing feel a lot easier, give this video a like so that I know it's helping. If you want more tutorials like this, simple, step-by-step, and beginner-friendly, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It's a free way to support my work and helps me creating more content just like this. Let's look at these cups. I'm going to take my colored pencil so I can see these lines a little bit better. You can use a regular pencil if you want. I just find it's easier to see a colored pencil. Any color will work. This is just my preference, but you can use regular pencil if you want. It's kind of like a pinched oval shape. The corners are not quite angles like a football. They're still a little rounded, so I want to make sure I leave it that way. A big U shape here. If I wanted to, I can draw in the bottom of the cup because we can kind of see through it. It almost looks like an egg shape a little bit, kind of like an oval. Now the stem that connects the cup to the bottom part is kind of angled out, but just for my basic shapes, I'm going to be drawing a rectangle. I want to keep it simple when I'm mapping out where my shapes are. Again, I'm going to draw through things so that it's easier to find those shapes. Cool. Drawing through my shapes again. There's another rectangle down here. And there's an oval. I'm going to make sure that I get that all in. Now, if I even want to make it look like it's in this image, I can make sure that I have that line on there as well. If I'm ready to draw, I can take my pencil and start drawing it. Usually it takes me a couple tries to get the oval shape, so it's totally okay to draw it a few times. I feel like I don't have it as squished as they do. Okay. Drawing my U shape. Remember, we will come back in and fix some of these lines later, so it's totally okay for them to look messy right now. I've got this. Got this. And make sure I get this shape in. Ooh, it's starting to look a little like a cup. We're getting there. I want to make sure I get this one in. Now, for this one, I want to make sure that I'm getting everything as close as I can to this. Sometimes it's easier to start with something that's connecting and touching this glass to make things a little easier. It's up to you kind of how you want to handle it. Sometimes I'll put some little points. So this is going to be really close here. It's going to overlap kind of here on the cup. And then I see that it goes quite a ways out over here where it connects. And that's kind of down, maybe about out here. So now I have some points to connect to. And I can kind of work on that so that I know where I'm going to place that in my image. And I can start to fill in some of these other shapes. So this connects back here. And then we're going to draw this shape all the way through again. Ta-da! All right, so I know that that red is not on top of the green, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Same with that little corner right there. We'll put that back in. Now, I do want to go back in and make sure that I've got my curved lines here. I want to make sure that I get some of this stuff a little bit more even. We can kind of imply that there is a shape down here. That means we're just suggesting that we can see the bottom here. You can go in and do all of these shapes if you'd like to. You can either try to follow the pattern, or you can kind of make up your own circles. It depends on how realistic you're wanting this to look. I think that it helps trying to find the bumps in the right spot, but that's up to you. We can add in other details, like I see some shiny stuff down on the surface here. We'll talk about shading in a later video, so don't worry about any of that right now. Right now, we're just working on making drawing easier. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. Okay. And then we can start getting all of those little bumps in here. This one I'm not worried as much about where those bumps are at. Kind of giving it a little like looser texture. If you want it to look more realistic, you're going to try to make sure you're keeping up with where those bumps are at. You can see them on the inside as well. Okay, so there we have our cups. We're just using basic shapes to build these. Thanks so much for drawing with me today. I hope breaking things down into shapes helped make the process feel more fun and less intimidating. If you downloaded the practice activity, I'd love to hear how it went for you in the comments. And don't forget, there's another video coming soon that builds on this one, so make sure you're subscribed and ready. Until next time, keep creating and be kind to yourself throughout the process. See you soon.